And we are back. Thank you guys so much. So now, to bring us back into the room, if you will, we have an activity. Now, with this activity, I need you guys to break up. So, I need a triad and a dyad. Triad being 3, dyad being 2. You guys want to go you 3 against you 2? You got however you guys want to do it. You want you 2 against you 3? However you want to do it.
It's me and Kiara.
You and Kiara? Sounds good.
Kiara's a college student. It says something about candy bar. You want to go that way.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hand you guys both this paper. Both of you guys are going to get this paper. And what we're going to need to do is we are going to... you're going to have 5 minutes. So from the time I set this paper down, you only have 5 minutes. I'll keep the time on this one because you're going to be making that activity.
Turn it over?
Yeah, so don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. Don't get falling that one. Don't turn it over. Okay, so here's the deal. Don't turn it over. Stop. Don't turn it over.
Slide it over there.
Well, you're going to turn it over to slide it over there.
Just slide it over there.
Okay, here's the deal. You're going to have 5 minutes. Let me set my timer, actually. You're going to have 5 minutes to complete this activity. You 3 against you 2. However you guys want to do it. I wouldn't give them any answers. I wouldn't give you guys any answers. You might want to whisper. You can change locations if you want to. You have 5 minutes. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at clues and then going to a word bank and trying to figure out which word goes for that clue. And whoever gets the most right wins. Don't turn it over yet. When you turn it over, it will be self-explanatory, and on the very top there, it tells you exactly what to do. But hang on a second. Let me set the timer, and we are going to start now. Go ahead. Start.
There we go.
What's that? Galaxy, that's Milky. Want to go in 100 grand? Kings around, so. Which one?
You think we're done? We are done.
Which one?
Guys finished in 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
Awesome. Baby showers.
Oh, yeah. I really forgot about that.
Kings around.
Oh, it's not still correct. Caramel.
Which one?
You got this in it, 1,000 grand? No,
So that's not this one.
candy bar, I thought it was 1,000. You know what, it's 100,000 grand.
That is
No, what? 100 grand. It's 100 grand. Which is not the answer, it's 5.
Diane, you have 2 more minutes. I kind of blew it, but oh well. I was supposed to give you guys a minute each to come up with your team name. See, at the very top it says team name. I forgot. If you guys want to stick a team name in there, you can.
Yeah, we try it. Where does it say team name?
I didn't put it at the top? Very top.
No.
I didn't? Oh, okay.
It says attempt to match it.
You must have been thinking underneath that? Underneath the directions that I put team
There
name?
are more candy bar names in the word bank than there are food.
Well, let's take one of these names, that way the word of the Three Musketeers.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie's girlfriend. Oh, peppermint patty.
Peppermint did a second?
Feminine.
I saw a little bit of the second online. And
1 minute, Diane. 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm thinking that all
he
of
did
them.
that the last day.
Yeah, I think I want all 3.
I just listened. I just listened to his message. I swear his show is going up on
So what is it? Feminine pronoun?
Yeah, it's so good. And I'm like, you could listen to it a whole bunch of times and you would hear something different. Here's the question I was cracking up. People want to know.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Oh, sweet Tootsie Roll. All right, we're done.
You're done? Okay. You took 4 minutes, 40 seconds. Okay, can you guys switch papers, please? And you're going to correct each other's paper.
Oh,
Go ahead and switch papers.
you don't trust us? No, that's what you can.
Can't read my writing.
Okay.
It's bad.
Got it? So somebody, okay, check mark next to the ones that are wrong. Okay? So the first one, Bumpy Street, what is that?
Rocky Road.
Is that what you guys have? Everybody has Rocky Road?
Yes.
Famous baseball player.
Baby
Baby
Ruth.
Ruth.
The actual candy bar is Baby Ruth. Yeah.
Feminine,
Oh, yeah, it is.
feminine pronoun.
Hershey.
What do you guys have?
What do we put? Tootsie
We
Roll?
put Tootsie Roll.
They put Tootsie Roll?
Yeah.
Wrong. What did they put?
Hershey.
Hershey.
That is correct. Hershey. Charlie's girlfriend?
Peppermint Patty.
Okay. Happy Nut.
Almond Joy.
Our Galaxy.
Milky
Milky
Way.
Way.
King's Ransom.
100 grand.
Toe Attendance.
Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll.
What did they put?
Butterfinger.
That's wrong. What did you put? What did they put?
They put Tootsie Roll.
They got it correct. Funny laugh.
Snickers.
Relaxed automobile.
That's what we did. We
Fifth
put
Avenue.
Caramel.
Huh? What did they, okay, what
We
did
put
they
Fifth
put?
Avenue.
They put Fifth Avenue.
That's wrong. What did they put?
Caramel.
Caramel.
That's correct. Car o mellow. So,
Oh.
relaxed automobile, car, that's mellow.
Oh,
Car,
I would've never-
Caramello.
Did you know that?
So,
I never would have that. I was like,
yeah, caramello. So,
wow.
all right, that brings us back in the room. Sounds like the triad won, but they should have won. They had an extra person. See, that's how you look at that. See, that's how it was 3 against 2, so that's why they won.
Had nothing to do with we attend mostly baby showers and birthday showers, and they play the candy game party.
Exactly.
And that's
Okay.
we eat snacks.
Here's the deal. I'll take those for you if you want, so that take those together. Okay, this next thing that we're going to do is called an antidote, and this one's really important. It goes along the lines of what you guys did on the brainstorming. It's going to be pretty important. It gives you have 30 minutes, I believe, to do this. And this one here is really going to really be the crux of this meeting. So this is called a structuring device. And it's to help you guys with the brainstorming and things of that nature. So I'm going to pass it out, then I'm going to explain it to you. And I want you guys to work as one group. I'll take one, and then you can pass those down and let them gather at the end. And again, this structuring device is called Antidote. It's front and back. So we're going to go over it really quick. And just ask any questions if anything's not clear. But we're just going to read through the Antidote structuring device. just take turns reading stuff. Kira, can you read the description, please?
The anecdote allows the decision maker to use his or her creativity. The participants apply past experiences, their own or others, to the current situation. This device allows the decision maker to approach the situation from another point of view, to examine past experiences and explore future settings.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we know our current sitna. What you guys have to do is brainstorm amongst yourselves, think about something that is either similar, that's happened to you, is either this exact thing or similar, this type of what we're looking to do, filling the gap and things of that nature. So you want to kind of think of something that that you have that's happened in your life that could probably equate to this.
Equate to what?
To our current situation, the current situation, the cashier gap, the current situation. Ken, can you read the application or illustration of use?
Use the antidote when the group is more mature and experienced and the situation lends itself to past comparisons.
And I think you guys equate to this. Christy, can you read procedural steps 1 through 4?
Yes. 1, define the current situation. 2, have team members reflect on a similar problem/decision in the past. 3, pose the question, what happened? Allow discussion. Number 4, pose the next question, what did you do? Go through the situation step by step.
And Mel,
Number 5,
oh yes, that's what you do 1 through 4.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mel, can you read 5 and 6, please?
5. Ask the group to look at the current problem and respond to the first question. What has happened so far? 6. Ask the questions. What did the previous situation teach us? What can be transferred to the situation? How is this situation different?
And Tanita, can you read the caution, please?
Do not use antidote with participants who have no related experience.
Okay, so do you guys understand what we're going to do here for the end of this meeting? We're basically going to take the current situation. We're going to try to think, you guys are going to talk about and discuss what has happened in your life that is similar to our current situation. You take those things, let's say it was, I'm just saying hypothetically, let's say it was I rode my bike in a ditch. Well, you take everything that happened when you rode your bike in the ditch and you tell us what happened. Well, I rode my bike in the ditch, I got a flat tire, I was a mile away from my home, there was not a gas station around, and so I ended up having to take my front tire off, that was flat, and I walked. So you would take those situations and try to equate it to your current situation. So that's what this antidote structuring device does. Does that make sense? No? Not at all. Okay, I'll read the description again. The antidote allows the decision maker to use his or her creativity. The participants apply past experience, their own or others. So it doesn't even have to be your own. If you know of somebody who has a situation that's similar to this and you're very familiar with it, you can use that situation as well. This device allows the decision maker to, you guys by the way are the decision makers, to approach the situation from another point of view, to examine past experience and explore future setting. So basically what this structuring device does is let you take past experiences, which you now know the beginning, middle, and end of, and try to apply it to this current situation, which we've only defined the issue.
Okay.
That makes sense? Kind of? Sort of?
Kind of.
Kind of, sort of? Okay. So if you guys will want to think about a situation, you guys still remember what our current situation is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So try to think of, amongst the 5 of you, what have you happened in the past is kind of similar to what we're discussing now. And then talk that through. If, let's say, hypothetically, using the bike example, then if I would have said, oh, I rode my bike in a ditch, and I think that equates, then your next question is, what happened? Well, when I rode my bike, and then you just start explaining what happened.
Okay. Let me, since I think I have something that's very close to the situation we're in.
Please.
When I was working, I was in charge of a special group within my organization, the Verizon organization. And my job was to recruit people to work with me in this study. The problem is, and what I was thinking made me to relate this to, because we had an offline group and then we had an online group. So the offline group, I just said, hey, we're all in offline, just do it. And a lot of people saying, then I'll go back online, because they didn't want to do it. So I then had to go and find different ways to get people to, you know, get interested in this new pilot and to want to participate. So when I was just thinking, and what ended up happening is, I think we had maybe 4 or 5 people that decided to work with me, and we went ahead and did this study. But I was thinking of that outcome, because if we were to take our current situation and say, everyone has to be cashiers, we have to take into consideration that some people say, I don't want to be cashiers, and you may lose them out of the ministry. And we don't want to do that.
So we want to make all the people cashiers without losing them.
Without the demand of saying you have to be, in a way, maybe encourage everyone,
Maybe
convince
make-
them what a great idea.
So if I can
Make it
interject
their
here,
idea.
it has nothing to do with what you're doing, because you guys are doing an outstanding job, but to do this antidote as the way it's supposed to be done, the very first thing we need to do is, let's do this, let's go ahead and define, because I think what we just did step 2. Let's define the current situation. She just did an outstanding job of reflecting on something that has a similar problem. So let's go ahead and let's do step 1. Now, here's the deal. There's things called, I'm trying to think of how, because we just learned this. It's called, and I'm going to say it, but there's a certain way to say it. There's the problem, okay? And then there's the problem as seen by the group. So there's,
Perception?
The perception is exactly it. So there's the problem that, like, I might think the problem is A, B, and C, and I might try to convey it as A, B, and C. But when the group talks about the problem, they're talking about D, E, and F, and I'm scratching my head going, what the heck? So there's the problem, and then there's the problem that is being perceived, and there's another way to say it, and I apologize, I cannot remember how to say it, but the essence is, there's the issue, the problem, and then there's the problem, how it's being perceived by the group. So I would like someone, I'm going to use Mel. What is our current, and then you guys can help her. What do you guys believe, define our current situation, the reason why we're meeting tonight, and where we're going to meet the next time. What is our current situation? As you guys perceive it and see it, what is our current situation? All 5 of you guys see it.
There's not enough cashiers
Okay.
available for the demand.
You guys, as a group, do you guys agree? Is that the issue?
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer. I'm just saying, is that the issue?
Yes.
Okay, now we could go to step 2, which Tanita's already talked about. So now we've already done step 2. Do you guys understand her step 2? Does she need to go into it more? Does it equate to our current situation? Is it similar to our current situation? Her step 2, her reflection, does it similar? And just so you'll know, we're not going to do 2 or 3 or 4 of these for the interest of time. We're just going to stick with 1. So if she has one, we're going to stick with 1, if that's okay, just in the interest of time. But if I were to have enough time, every last one of you guys would try to reflect, and we would try to you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So do you guys think her situation for step 2 is similar to our current situation? Yeah. We are in agreement on that? We're going to move to step 3. Then, okay, what happened? Now, this is an open discussion, so as much as you can understand her language and what she's talking about at Verizon, as she starts saying what happened, interject it and try to figure out. If you have questions for her, ask her. If you ask them, if you try to, so I will pose the question, what happened?
Oh,
So you explain the situation, so what happened?
well, what happened was we only ended up with a small amount of people doing the pilot program. So it does not help this situation, because this is where we are. But we was able to function with a small amount, where they're already functioning in the bookstore with a small amount. And they need to be able to incorporate everyone into it. So that situation won't answer, but again, what happened was, when we tried to force everyone to be a part of the program, people rather quit than do it.
So as we say, so how did that work out? That didn't work out.
So that didn't work out.
And that
No,
would be
that's what I'm
similar-
saying. We want to know that.
Right.
And that would be similar to the bookstore.
Okay.
Because we've already been through that about transitioning from just working in CD South as well as working in the bookstore. We had some that actually did leave because we said they all had to be trained on both sides. And then I guess we finally resorted to, okay, we'll have these that are grandfathered in and any new people, which is still an option now.
That's an option, that's our.
That's an option now.
Any new people
Any
coming
new
in.
people who have, that could be a requirement that they be cashier.
So my next question for step 4 then is back to Tanita because she has the reflecting situation. The next question for you then, Tanita, is based on what happened, what did you do? Go through the situation step by step. So in other words, you told us what happened. What did you do, or what was done? If you
Well, the
recall.
first thing we did is we definitely quickly decided we didn't want to lose any valuable employees. So we retracted our decision of making everyone participate. So the second decision is we decided, we did a survey. We asked people to fill out a survey, not necessarily as, do you want to do this, that, but what if you had a say-so in this? Would you be interested? What if, kind of giving scenarios about what the job entailed, what's the highlight of what was going to happen?
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah.
How many people did that encompass?
The survey,
No, in other words, this whole situation, how many people were initially forced to and then you retracted? How many people did that encompass? Estimate.
very close to 100.
Wow. Okay, so a lot
Very
bigger.
close to 100.
Okay, so that's her number's bigger than our number.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I mean, just something I just wanted to point out.
Right. And how many did you lose?
we lost none because we didn't force them. We did the survey and found out that within the group, how many people wanted to be a part of it. And then we built with that group. So we ended up with about 10 that actually wanted to do the survey, which wanted to do the project, which was suitable for us at that time.
But initially, when you said you forced people,
We wanted to.
you wanted to force them. How many were saying they would leave? Before
Quite a bit.
How many wanted to leave to the point where you decided to retract that mandatory?
We'll just say majority wanted to leave than to stay because people don't accept change. So it wasn't that they was afraid of what was going to be done, they was afraid of change. So that's why they immediately piped up with the extreme, I'll just leave. You know, so.
And once they understood it better.
Once we kind of did the survey to pick people's interest to see if they're interested in really doing this pilot, then you have people who really kind of cared about what was going on. And throughout the survey, we was able to find out where people really was at.
Okay.
And then we were able to kind of now rebuild, refocus upon the skills that we had. So it did work out. The pilot was a success and it's still a success today.
So number 5 says now, what I want to do is I want to ask the group to look at our current problem and respond to the first question. In our current problem, what has happened so far? In our current problem. How is what we're talking about now as far as the bookstore, how that goes, what has happened so far? Are you short cashier? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but what has happened so far in the current situation?
You mean, what did we discover so far, or
No.
what has happened actually?
Actually.
Like, have you asked people to just become cashiers, or what happened?
We asked people if they were interested in training.
How'd that work out
If
for
they
you?
were interested in being a cashier. I think some people stepped up and others were like, no, I don't want that responsibility. And I couldn't tell you the numbers. I wasn't that heavily involved in it. But
So
I
as
know
it
it was posed to everyone. An email was sent out. Those, please let us know who's interested in cashiers. We need more cashiers. Are you interested in being trained?
So my question would be, just from the outside looking in, if you will, then if you guys are possibly discussing problem solution, and you haven't came to problem solution yet, you haven't, but if you're discussing and possibly feasibly thinking that problem solution would be making everyone be a cashier, kind of like what her situation was differently, how are you going to address those people that you've asked and they've declined and said, no, I don't want to be? now you're gonna turn around and possibly impose something and say everybody has to be a cashier. What do you think the ramifications would that be? If that is what you decided to do, and I'm not saying you did.
I think that we would have a problem, like we did previously. But like I mentioned earlier, maybe the best way to approach that is whoever's grandfathered in, who's already there.
Explain grandfathering in.
Grandfathered in means the people who are already there and have expressed that they are not interested in being a cashier. And they're already there, so because they've already been a part of it, any new people, they would be considered the old people, the veterans.
Okay.
The veterans of the bookstore at this point, and any new recruits would be a requirement for any new recruits. So they wouldn't have to do it because they've already been here, they've already expressed an interest that, no, I'm not interested, and because they're already established in our ministry, they would not be required to be trained as cashiers, but anyone coming in from this point forward would be required. And they would know that coming in so that they couldn't say later on, I don't want to do it.
Group, what do you guys think about that?
I think that's a very good idea.
It's good, yeah.
Bill?
Well, I was just gonna add to that, the bookstore is a ministry, but it's also a business, and it needs to be run as a business, and people who volunteer should be willing and able to meet the needs of the business. So if you have, like a weekend with Dale Bronner where you have a whole bunch of people coming in more than usual, what if, 2 cashiers that were scheduled, one is sick and the other one's a no-show? Then we're not meeting the needs of the business. I think everybody needs to be trained in the event that they are needed as a cashier, but they may not have to work as a cashier, and I don't think that it should be offered to them as a choice. I think, like she said, anybody new coming in, that's like a prerequisite. You have to be trained to be a cashier in order to work in this ministry, because you have to meet the needs of the bookstore.
Let me give you an example.
But
that would go along the lines of like working in, there's certain rules and policies that you have to follow in certain ministries. So like in the children's ministry, whether you like it or not, you have to be fingerprinted. And you have to have a background check. We're dealing with money, and you have to have, and actually that would take care of the other problem. Well, the other issue, if we have people be fingerprinted, have a background check, they're around our money. Even if they're not trained cashiers, because we're all working on different shifts, I'm not always aware of who is actually a trained cashier. And if I go ask somebody, oh, are you a trained cashier? They could tell me they are and go up there and start working the cash register, which means they have access to the money. So,
Going back to Nels, and as a facilitator, I listened a lot, and earlier she mentioned so eloquently about, let's say, volunteer firemen. So if I wanted to be a volunteer fireman, but I knew in my heart of hearts, as I volunteered for station number 8, all I wanted to do was be a volunteer fireman, but I wanted to be a cook, and I wanted to be able to cook for the station house. I love cooking, and I want to send all the firemen off with a good meal, because they live there, they work 48-hour shifts. And so, as I go in to be that volunteer fireman, do I know how to put out fires? Do I go out on fires? I'm thinking yes. If I'm a volunteer fireman, I need to be able so that when that 3-alarm fire, when they need everybody, all hands on deck, they grabbing the cook, they grabbing the janitor, they grabbing everybody who know, and so everybody's trained. So that was a very good example you mentioned earlier. The same thing with the volunteer police officer. Hey, I'm a volunteer police officer, but I want to work in the jail at the police department. Well, okay, when the volunteer police officers, when they work in the jail, if a big giant riot happened in that city, they're pulling every available jailer out of that jail and putting them on the street. They're putting everybody, even though they wanted to work in the jail, or they wanted to work at a desk and work at the front desk, everybody available. So that was a very good example. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here.
If I could
Sure.
insert something that I kind of picked up on one word. I think Christy said it that the people say, I don't want that responsibility. Well, my question now is to ask, what responsibility? What are we talking about, and what negative attachment has hit the cashier that people feel like, I don't want that responsibility? What is that responsibility? And maybe if you can change that relationship, more people want a cashier. Because I think it would be quite difficult to have a lot of people coming in and then saying, well, I'm not a cashier, I don't have to cashier, but they told me I had to cashier. Now you have a division. But I think if you can change that negativity of the people who don't want to be cashiers, and maybe make it seem something a little more interesting, or change the way people think about it, you have more volunteers. They won't mind being a cashier.
And how would you suggest we do that?
That's another class.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah, because I can see the issues that they have. You know, when the lines are long,
It's fear.
some people get very scared. Okay, I'm being too slow. Maybe I'll count out the wrong change.
Nope.
You know, maybe I won't. I do this all the
do you
time.
guys
Don't
recall
get
what I
my
said at
pride.
the onset of this meeting?
We're not gonna have an answer.
We're not gonna have an answer, and it's
Yes.
a huge scope. Do you see
Yes.
how this is kind of spider webbing? It's
Mhm.
going here, and they're all valid points. That's the whole thing. I know we only have one more meeting, but in actuality, this would take 7 more meetings. I mean, this is a huge, it's a huge situation that needs to be addressed. So to stay in line with this, because Madam Timekeeper said we have about 8 minutes left, and I really want to be respectful of your time, to stay in line with this antidote structuring device. So now I'm going to ask you at number 6, what did the Verizon situation that Tanita told us about, what did the previous situation teach us? Now here's the deal. I noticed when she was talking, you wrote something down. Something struck you, and you wrote it down. That's the purpose of this antidote structuring device, is because we're taking her situation, hearing what happened and what they did, and I think it was probably, a survey, I believe it was, exactly. So here's what I'm saying. We would have never thought about survey if we didn't ask her what. So this structuring device is really serving its purpose. So now, with that being said, based on that, what did the previous situation teach us? What did it teach us? What did she say? What did we gather out of that?
I got from it that we need to get people's input before we start issuing mandates.
That's very good. That's really good.
Very good.
That's very good.
That's one thing that we learned.
Okay, that's very good. What can be transferred to this situation from her situation? From what we learned from her situation? What else? What could be transferred? What could possibly, that whatever Verizon did, and we're not saying it has to, what could possibly work in our situation that they did in their situation, if you guys recall?
Well, something that she said. Find out what it is, what about that responsibility what is the responsibility that they don't want? So that would be to take the surveying their input and find out exactly what is their hesitation about becoming a cashier.
Let's say you find that out and you get some survey results and it turns out that it's, I'm just using letters A, B, and C. Then what do you do after that? What do you do with that information that you've actually researched? What would you imagine? And again, Rome wasn't built in a day, so we're not figuring this thing out, but just hypothetically, what would you do with that information? What would be the next step then?
Now you can address it.
Mm-hmm.
For an example.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
for an example, if it was A, they're afraid of, as you said earlier, counting back. Well, once they realize that the system that they're using is a computer, and that if you put the numbers in, it tells you what to give back. And then once they find out that it's more relaxing because you're not looking at a line full of people, you're looking at one customer in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Your lead is looking at the line, you're looking at the person in front of you, and you can kind of, you can take the information and you can reapproach it to where a person will say, well, I'll give it a try. At least that's better than, no, I don't want the responsibility. They'll find out there's a difference.
Would you find that people will shy away from something not having the full knowledge of what that is?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You find that people will do that. Okay, now, were you about to say something, Ken?
No.
I may have cut you off, sorry.
I was.
Who was? Go ahead. I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
You made a good point. It's the fear of the unknown that drive people. And if we inform them you know, give them the information that they need, then hopefully it will dispel their fears.
Because seriously, the fear of being short or short in the drawer, what happens to you?
Nothing. Nothing. They just say,
It's a ministry, they're
we
not gonna
need to
fire
change.
you.
Yes, they're not, because you're volunteering.
That's a good point. So in interest of time, Madam Timekeeper says we probably now have about 4 minutes. So using the Verizon situation, how is this situation different from the Verizon situation that Tanita so eloquently explained?
They're paid employees.
No, you're laughing. No, you're laughing, but that is one that is one of the very biggest difference. Because back when Verizon said that they were mandating what they were going to mandate, had they not changed it, you had to use the bathroom or get off the pot, because you were either going to make that change or you were going to quit your job. So the fact that they were being paid is very relevant.
But remember the fact that we was paid, however, the position we was in was a volunteer position.
Oh,
We
I didn't
chose
know
to
that.
go
Okay.
over to a different position from what we was hired into doing. So we had a choice to be there.
Okay.
So they had a choice to go back.
Then that's
Oh,
really
so
relevant.
that was
Yeah.
the same.
Then the pay, yeah, yeah. So that's really similar to this situation.
It is.
Based on that, really. So if that's the case, that's a similarity. What would be a difference then between our situation and the one? Is there any differences?
Well, I would say that the biggest difference is we had to make it work. We had to come up with the plan. So we had to. It was not, okay, if you guys don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. We had to.
So it's
And I think in the situation that we have now is, well, they don't want to be cashiers. They don't really have to do it, even though it's creating the bigger gap and a
In
need.
the long
Does anybody have anything else to add?
But if you implemented that requirement that you have to be trained as a cashier, eventually you close that gap.
She's right.
You will bring in the new people, but my cautious fear would be if I was grandfathered. And if other people came in with the idea that I had to be a cashier, I really don't want to be, but I kind of want to work in a bookstore, so I'll do it, but I really don't want to be a cashier. And then they find someone, let's say Christy, oh, I never cashier, I don't have to be a cashier.
But they would know that, because the other person would say, even if they brought it up to the director, you know, well, how come they don't have to and we do? Then we could indicate, like we do now, they're grandfathered in. When certain people work in the CD room, when their shift is done, well, when
They go, right.
they go home, they don't go, and the rest of the people understand that they go to the bookstore and that the others don't.
And my question would be, will your grandfather people that are specific to whatever they want to be specific to, what is that number? Is that a small number?
That would be a big
Yes, it's a small number right now.
If you grandfather.
Oh,
The
right now,
cashiers.
if we cashier. Well, it depends. Like you said, like Tanita said, if we present it to them in a way that will maybe calm their fears, I would say maybe half of the ones that don't want to now might give it a try.
Let me ask you a question. I know we're running out of time, Madam Timekeeper, but this is rich discussion. Would you say that the age would have anything to do with anything? Age?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Mel go first. You explain why you do believe, and I'll let you tell me why you don't think it does. You tell me why you do.
From what I've seen, a lot of the older generation is not that familiar with computer use, and it scares them. They think that they're going to mess something up, whereas the younger generation, they're raised on computers now, and it's like, it's nothing to them.
And why did you think age didn't have anything to do with it?
Because I see we have the older generation doing the cashiers. Now we have well, actually you're right, maybe. Well, we have two older ladies that, well,
Sharon Riley.
Yeah, and she's a cashier. She's older and she's.
But now,
very
I wasn't
cashier.
disputing
But
Mel
there's
because Mel's
also-
absolutely right as well. I'm just saying there's both sides. I asked that question on purpose.
They're cashiering in the CD South, like
Milton.
Gail and Miss Halita
Yeah.
and.
That's right. So there's, I asked that on purpose because I
No,
know
you're
there's
right,
pros and
because we
cons
need
to
to
that. Yeah,
say
but
that, but I think it's the person.
I think the
Some
younger,
people the younger people are more apt to adjust to change.
Right.
Where the older people are more set in their ways, but then it depends on who they are. Some are like, hey, let's go for it.
well, in the interest of time, that was really rich, you guys. It really was. I
It
hope
was.
you guys, I really helped you guys, but in the interest of time, we ran out of time on that. So what we're going to do now is, we're going to have our process observer give her report of the meeting.
okay, the meeting started on time and it had a wonderful flow. I think the only negative thing that I could bring about is a lot of the stuff was repetitious.
Okay.
It was defined quite a bit. But other than that, one of the great positive things that you did was you did not choose a recorder, which is true in the group of this size because recorder does take that person out of the activities. So that was very thoughtful and productive. And the meeting went just great. I think it was enriched. It was outstanding.
Thank you. All right, at this point now, we're going to close the meeting, and I do want to remind everyone that our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 14th at 7 p.m. Monday, May 14th. It's a day after Mother's Day at 7 p.m. At that meeting, everyone in attendance at that meeting, we will decide where our fellowship restaurant meeting place will be. And that's that meeting there. So if you guys all come to that meeting, we're going to go. It won't be that night because it'll be too late, but we'll pick a day and a time, whether it's a lunch or something on a Saturday or whatever works for the group, and we will have a meeting. Does anybody? And we'll have our fellowship either lunch or dinner at that time. Does anybody have any other questions or anything? Did you guys find that it was enlightening? Did you think this is something that you'll be able to take back and really? And like I said, we're not done. Or hopefully on May 14th, we will be able to really try to define the problem and maybe come up with some solutions. So that gives you a little preview of what's going to happen on May 14th. That one will be hopefully where we can really totally get the issue defined, narrow it down, and I'll have structuring devices and things of that nature, and hopefully we'll try to come up with some solutions that you guys can take back to your bookstore director and or your manager, and hopefully they will like them and maybe try to implement them. So if you don't have anything else, oh yes, go ahead.
I thought it was very good. I liked the group setting because it helped to bring out ideas that I wouldn't have had on my own. So as one person says something, then it was like, yeah, and then it caused me to think a little bit more out the box.
That's true.
Because I'm very much in the box, but I need help to get out the box.
You know,
But once I have a little help, then I'm ready to get out the box, and it kind of flows. It flows.
And I've said this time and time again, people are change resistors because they said, you ask somebody a question, why are you doing it that way? Their answer is, we've always done it that way. They don't want to know if there's a different way. If you're not ever thinking about change and thinking about different ways to do things, you're going to get stuck. So one of the things I liked, if I could have a highlight of the meeting, was this anecdote. I really thought this is a very good structuring device. I thought the Verizon example was really rich, and it was just almost parallel to, actually when, we brought in that last element of, even though they were paid, they volunteered to do this, and when she kept saying leave, I thought, these people are quitting their jobs just because they didn't want to do it. She was saying they were going back to their job. That was interesting. So I really thought the anecdote was a really good thing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? Well, with that being said, I cannot thank you guys enough for giving me 2 hours of your time, and I really appreciate it, so thank you guys very much.